This
Now to
conference
everyone.
will now be recorded.
Yes,
Krishna and
we
Ram both are
yes,
still
yes,
busy. Oh yeah.
yes, we can see your screen, Niladri. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So before we go ahead, can you please recall what we have covered, Ram? Just have a quick overview what we have in the demonstration, what you understood, any expectations, so that we can go accordingly.
Niladri, I think I did. I attended the demo. I was pretty much clear. I did. I think you
Okay.
remember. I asked a couple of questions like, can we tweak or something in the test system so that I can set up some, for example, Indian payroll and see whether
Hmm.
the connection. Do you remember? So I asked. So I was clear on,
Yes.
but
Hmm.
unfortunately, I could not attend the first session because
Okay.
I made my alarm, but it did not rang on
Okay.
that. So
No
that is the
problem.
reason I was unfortunate. Sorry about that.
No problem. No problem, Ram. So we will cover that today anyway. Anyway, you'll be having a different batch. You'll be having a different session. So no worry. And so, anything particular about Krishna?
No, Niladri, I am fine with this.
So you joined last with another Krishna, right? Last time.
Right, Niladri. Yeah, but yeah.
No problem. So I think you need some more session for that. So what I will do, I'll be a little bit because the Ananta Krishna which you joined, see, he actually has a lot of experience of the payroll. I understood. So his expectation is a little bit higher. So I will plan and I will whatever whenever you are because we will be joining with him to do tomorrow. Anyway, whatever the lagging point or whatever the points you would like to clarify today, we can clarify in this session. Okay.
Sure, Niladri. Thank you.
Please feel free to ask any questions, any doubts. Don't hesitate.
Sure, sure.
Yeah. So in the last session, we have the basic overview of the Employee Central Payroll. The way, as I was mentioning, there are three categories of session we'll be having. First one is your EC admin, that is your HR 812 course, and second one is your integration piece, that is your HR H60, and third piece is your HR H65, which is most important, that is your Payroll Control Center (PCC). So we will be starting today with HR 812, though we have shown little bit of initial screens, but today we'll be focusing on the entire HR 812 particularly. So that after that you will be having different whatever your queries we can ask related to HR. It is a little bit easier. Then we will move to slowly. We'll move to other topics. Okay. So initial half
Uh,
an hour, whatever. Yeah, please tell me.
yeah, Niladri, sorry to interrupt. Actually, see, I am not have, I don't have any background about on-premise HCM. So my whole experience in success factors only, and I'm from
Okay.
technical background. So if anything is needed, please cover that as well, right?
Okay, okay, sure, sure.
Uh,
Yeah.
so
So another
wherever
guys
some
is
HCM
joining.
background is
So
needed, and then if you could, yeah,
sure, no
wherever
problem.
some HCM information is needed, if you could cover in depth, that would be great. Yeah,
So
thank you.
what we can do, so we can, I will become, we can talk with Shanmukha. So we will be having another different one session to as a refresher course, like what are the things are in the on-premise payroll. It will be quick
Mhm.
and short session because generally the on-premise payroll takes more time to study. It takes around
Okay.
minimum 15 to 20 hours to cover the entire. If you understand, if you like to understand a deep technical like schemas, what are the rules, those are very deep
Mhm.
concept, but the
Mhm.
basic things I can guide you, like how what are the different how to create a waste type, those are very basic things. What is a control
Okay.
record, what are the different how those assign permissibility, those info types, particular waste types and all. So those things are very basic things. So
Okay.
I believe Ram you already know aware of right.
Yes, Niladri, I'm clear because
uh,
I have a good knowledge on payroll part. I have a
hmm,
knowledge on the easy part as well. So I
okay.
think Krishna, let me talk about this one. To be honest,
Hmm,
see, to learn SAP HR, as Niladri told that we need a minimum basic of these ones. But
hmm,
as a personal, okay, even if you don't know as of now, just try to concentrate what is an easy part on this one and
hmm,
what is the integration part later on. Maybe you can learn a little bit of these things. Maybe we can become, because anyway, Niladri told that we can make up a WhatsApp group. So maybe if you have learning in this one also, maybe we can as a group or as a friends, we can help out each other something required. So because even if you take Niladri, he can't cover all the things which is because
Hmm.
it takes a little bit of time to understand basic
Yeah,
schemas,
yeah,
PCS.
yeah, exactly. Even it took initial days when I started learning
Yeah,
payroll. It
it take
took at
years
least
for
two
me.
years. Means even I
Yeah.
understood the theory, but to understand end to end, it took me 2.5 years to learn everything from end to end from a payroll. Because one lesson until you do a complete implementation piece, you will not be knowing the challenges, what are the nuances in the happening in the payroll. And every time you'll be getting a new surprise. So even it
Yes,
comes, I'm not
that's right.
scaring you. I'm not scaring you, but again, it is to be honest, that is a fact. Whenever you are working on a live payroll implementation, so those kind of things will be coming. And on-premise, to be frank, on-premise is a little complex compared to the this EC payroll success factor piece. Success factor is just a cover. Means whatever the payroll we are talking about, that is just in covering the, it's a kind of interface. Integration piece is only important. PCC is important. But when it comes to the on-premise, a lot of things are there. So I'll be also suggesting one book for you. There is a PHI publication book. I forgot the author name, but some Sarma or something I forgot. But same book actually I was referring for Indian payroll. Other than that, there's some other things also there. I'll be sharing with you, and don't worry. So we'll wait for some few minutes because another guy Sai he is joining. Okay, so I think Ram and Sai will be joining in the same batch. So from the next batch. So little bit we'll be waiting. In the meanwhile, we'll just having the discussion what we have already covered and some topics which is actually not directly related to the implementation. I'll be just discussing here. So let me check if it's joining. So both of you are based out of India, or how is it?
Yes,
Yes, Neeraj.
Niladri. I am
Okay,
based out of from Hyderabad.
okay, okay. So we will just start. We will not be waiting. We'll just not be going very deep, but the very basic things I will be discussing. Is this thing I covered last time that the four? I think Krishna for you I have covered, but Ram, are you aware of this deployment options, or I skipped that topic last time?
No, no, no. See, I think last time only you showed us demo.
Ah,
Like, you told that there will
ah,
be for 3 days, 4 days class, the Excel sheet you explained. And
yes,
you
yes.
explained like a simple of going to the demo, go to the ECP and that
Ah,
RBP permission. You explained only that. I missed the
ah,
first class,
exactly.
which was last Sunday or
No
Saturday.
problem. No problem. It is Sunday, I believe. No problem. I'll
Yes.
be covering. So I think Sai has joined us. Hi, good morning, Sai. How are you doing?
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good, good, good. So Sai, you have also attended with the Ram, right? Same batch in the last.
Oh yeah, yeah. You given me a demo actually, sir.
So you have seen that RBP piece, right? Role based permission, like the demo which I have. So unified configuration. Did you remember that one? Same batch.
Uh,
Can you recall what we have covered in the just one or two line at least, so that I can think of.
I think it's promises and employees central, admin center. If you go to admin center and if
Hmm.
you go employee payroll configuration, you showed me. I think
Okay, got it. I got it. So I think we are in the same
haven't
batch.
checked yet,
Hmm.
so
Okay, no problem. So we'll be again today. Actually, we'll be officially starting like the day one. Last time, just what I have covered the basic stuff of Employee Central Payroll. What are the things are there, do's and don'ts? What are the basic questions, queries people ask? So as I was mentioning, there are three topics: HR 812, HR H60, and HR H65. These are the three different parts we'll be covering. Okay. And today we are actually covering the HR 812. Okay. So that is a payroll administration piece. Last time, even if I've shown little bit, we'll be going into deep detail. Okay. So this is regarding HR 812. So in
Yeah.
this HR 812 basically will be covering the admin section, means so when how as a payroll admin you will be logging in and what are the things you can do in the inside the EC payroll side. Okay, that we will be
Actually,
going to. Yeah,
I have one question. So I
yeah.
haven't got your video demo class video, so I can't able to revise
And
yet.
that you can connect with Aditya because I do not also store because the recording is part is done by Aditya team. You can connect with Sanmukha sir and you can get the download.
Okay.
Okay, because he takes the recording. I do not do the recording part. Okay.
Can you please go through overview, like just brush up, uh,
Huh.
like a demo?
Sure. So anyway, I'll be going through the demo details today. Okay. So initial, like what we have covered, as I was mentioning. So do's and don'ts I've covered. Like what are the EC? What is an EC payroll? EC is actually in the on SAP's on-premise based on on-premise payroll engine. The backend is always the payroll engine of on-premise, but on the top of that, we are having the is a hosted. It is hosted in the SAP's cloud environment. Okay. So that is the
Okay.
definition of EC payroll what I have covered. Okay. Other than that, the licensing, when it comes to the licensing, both requires a different license. EC payroll and EC both are different licenses. The client has to purchase both the licenses. Okay. So that is the from the licensing point of view. And what is the prerequisite for EC payroll? To have EC payroll in your place, EC must be implemented. Okay, that is a prerequisite. Okay. So similarly, when it comes to your time management, the time management is not a part of your EC payroll. So you will be having a different time management
LMS,
vendors
time
vendors are there.
management. Yeah.
Hmm. So your different types of your time management vendors like your Chronos or Workday, sorry, your workforce software. Okay, so whatever the time management SAP SuccessFactors certified vendor you must be using to have your time management to be integrated with your EC payroll. So these are the basic things we have covered to just brush up. And other than that, we'll be starting today from scratch, like what are the admin activities, what are the different admin roles we are having. So before that, going to ahead, so I'll be having a just quick overview of what are the different offerings available in EC
Okay.
payroll. We have four types of deployment options. Okay, so whenever you are implementing, there are four possibilities of payroll deployment option. First one is your on-premise, that is your on-premise based on S4 HANA. A second one is a cloud basic AMS, that is your SuccessFactors pure employee central payroll. Third one is your cloud full AMS, that is your SuccessFactors solution for managed payroll. Fourth one is the partner managed cloud for SAP SuccessFactors solution. So what are the different what are the difference? So you can see there are in the x-axis we have employee headcount like 500 to 2 lakhs plus and plus, and in the y-axis you can see whether it is on-premise or it's a kind of service level. Okay, so the x-axis depicts about the employee headcount, y-axis depicts about the service level. So to be precise, I'll be explaining like if it is a fully outsourced, I'll be coming from top to bottom, like partner managed cloud for SAP SuccessFactors solution. Suppose I'm explaining the first one. So in this, suppose if you are taking this kind of deployment options, everything will be done by the implementation partner. Suppose you are going to be an implementation partner, then you will be responsible for managing the entire implementation as well as support plus your all the admin activities. Means that is completely outsourced. Okay, so the parent organization or whoever is implementing the pay means whoever to for whose client you are actually implementing, they will not be doing anything. Only they are responsible for their processes, but the entire implementation from implementation support, even the running the payroll, everything will be outsourced. Means that organization who will be taking care of that particular client, they will be doing end to end everything. Okay, so that is called fully outsourced. Means service level is so it is a high. So fully outsourced means everything will be done by them. Okay. Then
Okay.
next one will be coming to the cloud full AMS. So in this case, what will happen? The SAP SuccessFactors solution for managed payroll. In this payroll in kind of deployment options, the client will be responsible for running the payroll, but all the implementation as well as the support, everything will be done by the your implementation partner who is responsible for implementing the system. They will be responsible for also supporting, means okay. So this is the second level. You can say cloud is called cloud full AMS, but it is not outsourced, means the admin activities will be done by the client, but when it comes to any configuration change, any support activities, okay, so that will be done by the implementation partner or the support partner who will be responsible for giving the service to the client. Okay. So this is the second
Okay.
payroll deployment option. Third one is the cloud basic AMS. So in this, what happens? Cloud basic AMS, only the implementation part you will be doing, but depending upon your service level agreement, whatever the limited support you will be giving, and client will be having their own internal team of payroll. Mostly they will be responsible for supporting the whatever the payroll activities on a day-to-day basis, operational activities. The client, the implementation partner will not be responsible in that case. Okay, so that is your cloud basic AMS. And last one is on-premise. This is actually at present it is not means SAP is planning to release it for S4 HANA based. It is planning to release around 2023. It is not yet now. Okay, so that will be kind of people who are planning to move their success factor, means payroll, to cloud. This is an option SAP is giving for the next, so that they can transition by 2030, because after 2030 they will not be supporting the on-premise. Everything will be mostly moved to the cloud. So similar way, this is a planned activity, and same things actually I have explained in the subsequent slides. Okay. So also it is suggested minimum headcount must be around 2000. Suppose if you are if any SAP supports, but it is recommended to have a 2000 employees minimum to have a EC payroll. But if you are having headcounts say 1500 or 1400 like that, and if you are planning some headcount to be increased, say in the next 1 year or 1.5 year, then also you can plan it for that. Okay. So for that you have to have an agreement with your SAP sales team, so that you, before procuring, you should know these things. Okay. So this is not important from an implementation point of view, just from a sales point of view, or if you are a project manager who will be involving from the day one. So what are the things you will be doing? So which deployment option you are choosing? That is actually for a decision making process. I just included this slides. Okay. So same thing I have explained in the subsequent slide. What is a partner managed cloud? What is an solution managed payroll cloud? Okay. So what are the roles? What are the customer profile? So that I have explained here. Okay. So this is again theoretical. If I say, once I share the slides, you can also go through. So this is, I'm not focusing much time here.
Yes, I have one doubt.
Yeah, please.
So I suppose you need to buy hard this one, right? So what you explain this theoretical part.
No, you don't have to buy hard. Generally, it's best just an understanding. Like if you're having understanding, because questions, if you're planning for certification, question doesn't come here from here. Just for
Oh,
understanding, I'll be mentioning what are the things important for you, which are the generally questions will be coming from the certification track, and I'll be covering that. Then, but this is from a basic understanding. Suppose if you are deployed as a project manager on a EC payroll, so you should be knowing this. This is not required for a consultant or like people who are joining recently or who are new into these things, but it is better to understand. So for that reason, actually, I included these slides. Other than that, nothing. Suppose you have to discuss with the
okay.
client which deployment options they may seek your help, which deployment options they should go for. Okay, so generally in that case it is required to help those clients in that initial decision phase. That is required.
They might be asked in the interview part, actually, some definitions.
No, but if you're discussing the client, then it will be helpful for you. But from an exam point of view or this kind, it's better to have this knowledge. But from an examination point of view, generally questions doesn't come here from here. Hmm.
Nice, sir.
Okay.
Yep.
So then actually this certification track, actually I'm completely whatever the syllabus, what are the curriculum we have designed. So everything, so these are the different categories of questions. So focus will be more on our integration piece, because this is actually an integration module. Okay, so here if you see the certification name, it says SAP Certified Integration Associate. It doesn't say normal associate, or doesn't say like any other modules of success factor. It is little different. It says SAP certified integration associate. Though if you see the certification name itself, so for that reason, our more focus is on the integration piece. That is our part C. I'll be covering towards the part C. So you can see the most maximum questions generally come from your PTP integration, like your point-to-point integration between your EC to EC configuration, EC time off. Okay, so you can see there are more than 12% questions come from these two areas. So remaining part like integration is more focused. Okay, but if you see the chapter number 9, like payroll processing under D-class to payroll is also, this is comes under your admin part. Okay, so this is less than 8% questions comes, okay, from the entire 80 questions. Okay, so generally, so all the things will be covered in the entire curriculum. So don't worry, I'll be covering everything in the subsequent part. Now I'll be coming to the directly to the topic. So here, as I was explaining, EC payroll actually basically we have three structure. Like it is a combination of Employee Central, SAP HCM, that is your on-premise payroll hosted on the cloud, and plus your payroll control center. So these three things are required to have a successful implementation of EC payroll, that is Employee Central payroll. Okay. So we'll be going one by one. Like say today we'll be covering mostly on the admin section, like as I was mentioning, HR 812. So we will see what are the admin, as an admin, what are the things you can do in your EC payroll. So here,
Okay.
yeah. So here we'll be seeing the first two. We'll start with the employee payroll introduction, which already we have covered. Then we'll be going to the manage user access. Means what are the access related activities or RBP part I'll be covering. Okay. So then third piece is actually the entering employee data. So entering employee data I will not be most focusing because it is a part of your employee central. So like how to update an employee data. So all that part I'll be just give an overview. So similarly, the payroll control center basics will be covering in this part A, because there is a dedicated section for payroll control center to learn in depth. Okay, that is a part of part C. Whenever we'll be coming to payroll control center in details, in very details, we'll be covering there. But here I'll be giving just the basics of payroll control center. Similarly, the managing employee data. So when I say managing employee data, it is actually kind of, suppose there is a promotion, suppose there is a transfer activities. So how to update those data? Those are also part of this part A. So that I will leave it with you. Like managing employee data and entering employee data, I'll not be covering because that is I'm just giving overview because those are actually data entry point. Okay, so which the normal admin or the employee or HR they can do that. Okay, so I'll be starting quickly with the remaining topics. What are the topics are there? But I'll be giving overview, like how what are the things we have to do. So this in the topics, the more focus is on our employee central payroll and PCC's function. What is the role of a PCC function in this for a particular organization? That will be focusing on. So now here just I've given an overview, like if suppose an employee lifecycle management, where does the managed payroll sits? Okay, so you can see there are a lot of processes for an organization like attract to hire. That is a all recruiting related process, recruiting onboarding related process. Similarly, suppose if you are having a say identify and grow, so there we have specific module for that, like PMGM or CDP, those modules comes here. Similarly, when I say educate and develop, this blue color, so here you can see all the LMS module or CDP or whatever this, you can see career development planning learning module comes. Similarly, when it comes to payroll generally comes under the central module. You can say manage workforce. Okay, under manage workforce, you can see there are a lot of processes like manage position, manage employee data, manage global assignment, manage benefits, manage time and attendance, manage payroll. Okay, so the managed payroll is a part of your managed workforce cycle. Okay, so out of the entire employee life cycle management, so there are different process groups under that. So generally this managed payroll comes under your managed workforce, this particular group. Okay, the process group.
Okay.
Okay. This is just for understanding, like suppose if you are designing a process also, suppose you are responsible for designing the different processes. So in that case you will be identifying where does this sits. Managed payroll is a part of your managed workforce, this process group. Okay. Similarly, just I'll be having a quick overview, like there are different tools. So this is again question doesn't come from here from certification. Generally, people for the different tools people use. for designing the processes. Like most frequently I have used Visio. People if you are aware of Visio, then we must have designed those Visio process. Using the Visio, we can redesign the processes. Similarly, some of the organizations they use Aries, and SAP uses Signavio. So these are the different tools available. But this you can also Google it out, like what are the, how to use it. This is from a process understanding point of view, how to design the processes. So you can use, there are many other different tools there are in the market. There are more than 50 plus tools are available in for designing the processes. So this is what these are the one of the leading tools who generally we use. So that's just an overview. So similarly, there are particular courses for Signavio. SAP uses Signavio basically. What are the tools if you see? So they have a particular business process modeling tool. So this is if you're responsible for designing the process, then it is required. Otherwise, you can skip this topic and just I've given understanding overall overview of this. Okay, so this is just a process overview that I have done using the Signavio. So when it comes to the payroll, these are the four major activities what we consider. Okay, like pre-payroll activities. So first one is a pre-payroll, means what is the meaning? Like all the master data related to the payroll we have to capture there. Okay, so if bank data, your it can be your income tax data. So whatever the data, whatever you are related to payroll, that data preparation is generally parts of the pre-payroll. So this all the process diagrams are also available in the process library, success factor process library. You can download that. Also, if you require, I can also share that entire stuff. What are the inside this pre-payroll? Similarly, once your pre-payroll is done, you generally go for the run payroll. That is a one-time activity every month or every week, depending upon your payroll cycle frequency. Once the run payroll is done, then you generally post the payroll to the finance. So once the payroll posting is done, then we go for the all the periodical activities. When I say periodical activities, it can be your off-cycle payroll run, all the kind of reimbursement generally happens. Again, different tax authorities or in India, basically you communicate with your different uh, tax or ESI or PF, whatever, different, you connect with them. Okay. So all these periodical activities generally we cover in this last process. So these are the overview of the entire payroll process for, and also all of these are supported by EC Payroll. EC Payroll supports all these major processes. Okay, so the entire process library I'm not going into detail. So what I can do, so what are the stuffs are there, like you can see for a particular process, what are the different process. So you have to just understand the process first, like what are the activities we are doing to for a particular process. Say pre-payroll, what are the activities we are going to do. So run payroll, what are the activities we are going to do. So this all process library you can download from the success factor process library. Suppose if you are having your S user ID. Otherwise, I can share with all of you, like once we are done, I'll be sharing all the entire process library with you so related to the payroll. So that you can go through and have a discussion with the client, what are the process relevant for them. You can implement those things. Okay. So this is just a process overview point of view I have covered. So next I'll be coming to the topic once again to the core topic. So payroll, as you are already aware of, what are the activities we do? Generally with number of generally payroll involves a number of processes like generation of payroll results, remuneration statement. Once your payroll is successfully run in the production environment, you generate the remuneration statement. That is a pay slip. So once it is done, then you implement it to the bank transfer. So bank transfer activities happens and your facilitation of the check payment. Suppose they are paying through check, then on check payment. Otherwise, it will directly disburse will happen to the employee's bank account. So this is just a basic definition of the cycle, how the payroll will happen. So this is again theoretical point of view. I'll not be focusing because what are the challenges in the on-premise payroll here I have just explained. Like what happens in the on usual on-premise days, you have to follow a lot of manual steps, and also it used to happen. Suppose in the on-premise payroll, who has done that, who has run the payroll, and who to whom to connect. So there is no collaboration. Okay, so for everything, suppose there is some error is happening due to master data, so the finance or the payroll person, he has to connect with the HR. Okay, so he had to drop an email or he had to call the HR. So this data is missing, that data is missing. Okay, so instead of that, in the EC payroll, what happens generally, all those things will be in the coming to one dashboard. Okay, so you'll be getting an alert. Suppose there is some data is missing, you'll be getting an alert like this data is missing, say bank data is missing, or say your PAN number is missing. So you may incur more tax. So those kind of information will be proactive on a proactive manner. Those alerts will be given to the admin, payroll admin, so that he will be assigning those alerts to the respective employees. So respective payroll responsible person, okay, so that there will be no, on a proactive basis they will be solving those data related issue, okay, because 90% of the cases payroll issues comes only from the data related issue. So once you have
Okay.
already corrected those data before we run the payroll in advance, so then your payroll will be runs very smoothly. So this is just an I've given what are the different and also another thing, so many times suppose any error is happening, there is a no root cause. Okay, so like in the on-premise payroll, if the payroll person or the payroll admin, he's a technical little technical knowledge he's having, then only he can understand what is the, suppose there is error is coming. Okay, sometimes what happens, some error comes and they can't understand, they couldn't understand those what is the error. Okay, so they have to come to the consultant or some other persons, what is the error, why this error is coming. So that kind of root cause they can't generally analysis do the analysis per in from their own. Okay, so of their own they can't do that. So what happens in the EC payroll for that, for every error, whatever error you are getting, you have an suppose if you click that error, then it will explain the error. Okay, so you will be able to find the root cause why that error happened. Okay, so if you go to the particular error screen, then you will be able to understand the root cause as well. So those kind of, it is more interactive. EC payroll is more interactive. It is more collaborative. So you can collaborate with your team. Suppose you have 5 people, okay, in your payroll team. One is responsible for data, another person is responsible for all the text related information, another person is related to for all kind of reporting. So we can collaborate with each other. So in the same payroll dashboard, you can alert, give an alert to each other, like you don't have to mail or call the person. So those kind of it became easy for EC payroll whenever you're implementing EC payroll. Some of the additional benefits you are getting. So
Okay.
these things is
I have a
currently.
question, sir.
Yeah, please, I ask.
Yeah, I don't have any experience on this actually, Goodman, but I have a staffing experience.
Mm-hmm.
There is no experience with the payroll or HR side, but
Mm-hmm.
I do staffing, USIT staffing actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I'm a bit confused like payroll and like time wages. So we have to configure right at the time of integration part, like all these things. So
Yes. So what I am assuming, so here, whenever you are going for EC payroll implementation, we are assuming that you have all, everything in place. We're assuming that time management is in place, your on-premise payroll implementation is already done, means all the configurations, so you are already a customer of on-premise payroll. If not, then the basic configurations you have to understand and you have to implement that. Okay, like configuring the
okay,
waste types, configuring the your different actions in your OMPA, PA, basically PA module. Okay, so those things are basic configuration. You must be knowing that. Okay, that is a prerequisite, as I was mentioning in the earlier session. Like to implement EC payroll, you must have a basic understanding of EC as well as your on-premise payroll and basic what is an info type, what is a waste type, what are the control records. So a lot of things are there in the on-premise payroll that I will not be covering in this thing, but I'll be giving if you require. Even Krishna also not aware of all those very details. Okay, so we
okay,
can plan for something for you. Like Ram is aware of, like he's expert in the all of on-premise payroll. He's already worked, so we can give him a brief session for you, Krishna, as well as a Sai for you. Is that fine?
okay. Yeah, yeah, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so we can find a refresher course for you. For if you do details, that's a long session, but I can cover you as a complement. Like we can cover what are the basic understanding you should know, and also I'll be sharing one document to both of you so that it will be easy for you to understand. Okay, so that is an actually comprehensive document covering all the modules of HR on-premise HR. Okay, so that I'll be sharing at no cost. So like we'll be sharing, and also the basic understanding I'll be giving one session for you so that you can pick up what are the things, because some of the terms actually will be finding here a little bit tricky. Okay, but don't worry. So again, you can think of like independently think of EC payroll as a different one. So whatever your understanding on-premise payroll, that will be great benefit for you, both of you. That I will be having. We just discussed with Aditya team, like we can arrange for a session for both of you, Krishna as well as Sai.
Okay, sir.
Is that
Yeah.
fine? Okay, okay. So as I was mentioning, what was the pain point in the pre-payroll? So a lot of transparency was missing there. Okay, so there was something called this again. I'll be covering for both of you. We have something called simulation payroll. Okay, so simulation payroll means before running the final payroll, you on the on-premise days we have to run a cycle of simulation running where we can get some kind of warning if there is any error is coming. Okay, so there are some those kind of information we used to get. Okay, but there is one other point in the simulation payroll. There is some shortcoming was there. Some of the information will not be getting unless and until you are running the actual payroll. So that is a production payroll. Okay, like the waste time report or some of the information we are not getting. Okay, so for that reason, so this is one of the pain point people that many of the clients actually they have asked. So they have to find some alternative. So EC payroll is a solution for that. Okay. So here the same thing I covered. Like here, this is a screen for payroll. How to run the payroll in the on-premise. So actually, Ram, if you are, can you please explain to both so that they can also learn? I know you also know just for understanding what is this.
Yeah. Thanks, Niladri. So what you want me to explain so that I can explain?
So I was just to explain the screen. What is the screen is all about,
Ah,
the
okay,
different
okay.
things. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Krishna and Sai, this is Ram. So I'm from, as Niladri mentioned, I'm from payroll background as well. So right now, as per my suggestion, don't mainly concentrate on the payroll part. As Niladri said, like, payroll is different and EC and point to point is connected. See, when you take about a problem, if you think about learning three systems at the same time, is first time it takes little bit of time. Okay, not only you, everyone has the same problem.
Everyone.
Okay.
Mhm.
Right now, mainly ECP is something from interview perspective or our concern. Think about the perspective of like, EC and point to point connector, which Niladri has mentioned. That is more than suffice. Okay,
Hmm.
so payroll part we can learn as a little bit, no worries. Okay, so on this screen, usually if you take any payroll, let me talk about layman language. So to run any payroll, we need an master data. So what is master data means? Employees information like employee number, first name, last name, okay, his address, okay, and his work schedule and his basic salary details. For example, if you take India, you have basic HRA convenes, the pay elements recurring form. This is the main thing, or your bank details. These are the prerequisites to run a payroll, means a kind of a mini master data which is required for the payroll perspective. Okay, this is every new employees will have this one. Okay, on a monthly basis, when the user means HR admin or a payroll user who runs payroll, because they need to be paying payroll for the particular employee, they need to run payroll on every basis. Okay, sometimes before running payroll, they need to make sure that inputs, one-time inputs, for example, some employees work overtime or some employees can get bonus or sales incentives. So the HR admin will give, or a payroll person, gets that inputs, okay, and run a payroll. This is the screen where if you go to the human resources payroll, and payroll also is a country specific. You have Northern American payroll, you have European payroll, within European again you have UK payroll, German payroll. Okay, the transactions is the same, but the based in the transaction, if you say M10 means M is 10 stands for US, like 40 stands for India. So you go to that particular, they do a simulation. Why do you do a simulation? Means like a layman language, it's a test run before actual run. That means it system can give you out some error messages. If something is missing, like bank details is missing or some kind of a missing some information or some configuration issues there, it will try to give an error message. So on the screen, whenever you are running, we call as a payroll. Payroll area. Payroll area means it is a two-digit code where you group an employees to run payroll. For example, India, we have monthly payroll. You can have one pay group. Okay.
Mm,
Whereas if you go to US, they might have weekly payroll, bi-weekly payroll, and monthly payroll. You can't group these three categories. We need to group
mm,
different categories. And you can see on the right hand side period, which period you want to run. Every time payroll will be running on current period. Okay, current period means if it is a monthly, right now the current period is for example US, this is the 12th period. Okay, but whereas if you take in India, your payroll is again based on our financial year. India, this current period is
yes,
ninth period. Okay,
ninth
so
period.
here, yeah, here we can run payroll number, means for individual employee also we can give one employee, but usually we don't run payroll for one employee unless if there is a something miscalculations. So we give the payroll, and whenever we are hiring an employee, he belongs to the specific payroll. Okay, for an example, Indian employee, we say Indian monthly employees. So when we user, whenever the payroll user want to run payroll, he just select the period, because he need to pay, we employees need to get paid on a monthly basis. We just go there, we give the period. Currently it is a ninth period in India, or if you take for US, it is a 12th period. You just give a current year as well. Okay, so you
Mm,
just give the payroll area, and there is a schema. Schema is some standard schema available for each country. So for example, if you take here payroll, US might have U000 schema. Within that, sometimes based on client requirement, we customize. Assume that we are using standard schema, and then
mm,
we keep a display log. A display log is something to troubleshoot if there are more errors. Okay,
mm,
usually if you keep a display log, it takes a lot of time. Okay, but usually when they are doing, you can ignore that one. But from consultant perspective, some employees an error. If you keep a display log, it will keep on this one. And the last one, if you want to see, there is a called layout of a remuneration statement. A remuneration statement is nothing a smart form of an designed by the ABAP consultant, where we can use and see what are his earnings, deductions, and tax calculation on the screen. So a user can say that whether he's been paid or something for an verifications.
mm.
And that is also called remuneration statements. So based on this one, that's what my explanation.
Yeah, thanks, Ram, for the update. So I'll be just giving I'll just add to that. So like here in the, as Ram has already explained everything in the, this is actually the your SAP on-premise screen. Okay, so in the EC payroll, what we can do, we can also execute the same. We have something called mess up screen. Okay, the same screen will be available in your EC payroll. Okay, otherwise you can also, you can always an option to go to the your on-premise payroll. You can log in using SAP GUI, and you can also execute all this transaction code. In the left hand side you can see there are a lot of transaction code. So here I have given one example of M99 PC00 underscore M99 underscore CALC underscore SIMU. So this is the transaction code for running an international payroll. Suppose there's no country, the SAP is not designed as per a specific country, then we can use customize our international as per the international payroll. Then we can run that particular payroll for that particular country. Okay. So these are different transactions available. Okay, so here only the difference will be the second figure, like your M99 here we have given. Same as Ram has already explained, M40. There are different country specific number is there. M40 is for India, M10 is for US. So your different numbers are available. M01 is for Germany. So these numbers will be available, and it will be more into your on-premise payroll. So Ram has correctly explained everything. Like here, you'll be if you're clicking this log, and this is for him from an as a consultant or as an admin. If I had to troubleshoot something, then I can also see the display log, and how the display log will look like. You can see I've just given an overview. So like suppose I'm having some log. So if I want to see something into details, I can dig down to this different log. So it is one of the on-premise things. It's little technical, and also you have to understand the different waste types. Suppose there are different waste types. Oh, you can also in the right hand side you can see there are different tables, different waste type, how these waste types are formed, how this has been calculated. All things you can analyze, do an analysis in the employee center, sorry, in the on-premise payroll side. Okay, so it is little technical, it's little hard to understand, but as we have Ram and I also work on this, so it is not little bit easy for us. But anyway, you once you get hands on little bit on this, once you have access to the on-premise, you will also learn these things. But compared to EC payroll, it is little technical. So EC payroll is actually everything is from the front end. Okay, so even when it comes to the reporting part, so we had a lot of reporting. It's a lot of, so you have to select a variant. What is a variant? I will explain Sai and Krishna in very details whenever we have a separate session. So what is a variant? For a different custom layouts you have to do. You have to output everything is Excel based. You have to download an Excel and you have to do the analysis. But from an EC payroll point of view, everything, if you can see, so this is just a normal screen. I have dashboard screen I have given. So all the information will be getting in one screen. Okay. So like suppose there is some here in this screenshot I have taken. So here you can see in the bottom section payroll amount analysis. Okay. So in the on-premise payroll, what you used to do, everything you have to download an Excel sheet, you have to download a wage type reporter, where you have to download a salary register if you have customized something. So you have to download and you have to consolidate and you have to compare if there is missing or not, if the total gross is exceeding the total amount of employees and whatever total salary. So all this kind of analysis you don't have to do manually here. Okay, so everything will be getting in the dashboard like here. So you can see in this is a sample screen of EC payroll control center. So payroll amount, all the analysis, gross comparison, net comparison, total employee tax. Okay, so everything will be seen in a particular dashboard. So all the KPIs also, whatever the KPIs. So all these things also you'll be seeing here directly. You don't have to worry about the report download. You don't have to download all the reports as you used to do in the on-premise. Okay, so as I was mentioning, ECP is a solution to all of the things we can have. We don't have to run the best job. Okay, so everything is now, it is a real time, online and interactive. So this is again just the benefits of EC payroll I was mentioning. So then I'll be going to a little bit of payroll control center, the very basics I'll be giving here. Okay, so as I was mentioning, payroll control center is the heart of your entire EC payroll. Okay, so we have something called in the payroll control center. It resolves all the issues what were existing in the on-premise payroll. Okay, and also we have some here. We have basically three steps. One is we call it something called one-click monitoring. Okay, so with a single click you can monitor all the activities as I was mentioning. So in the earlier screen, as I was mentioning, in the single screen, you can see everything, all the total gross comparison, net comparison, total employee taxes, if there is any missing hours, so everything, whatever the way you have designed. So all these things you can see it a single screen. Okay, so for that reason, it is called one-click monitoring. Okay, so one-click monitoring means you can be single dashboard, you can access all the information related to the data related thing, whatever the missing point, you can do see the analysis report. Okay, everything in one dashboard you can see it. Once you are fine with your one-click monitoring, means what does that mean? All your data is correct. Okay, so there are no data related issue, nothing is there. Then you can directly so you can go for the payroll productions. Okay, so once you go for payroll productions, you'll be actually running the payroll. So then once the payroll production is done, everything is done, then you can have a payroll follow-up. Follow-up in the sense like all the posting or the remaining the follow-up activities, post payroll activities that you have to do. So this is simple end-to-end process from a payroll control center. This is a new process when it comes to the EC payroll because it was not available in your on-premise days. Okay, so this is just a payroll control center point of view. Similarly, we have something called in the payroll every stages you can include the expert teams. Okay, so as I was mentioning in the one-click monitoring, you can see a group of people here. Okay, so like group of people in the sense, suppose you are having a payroll, so you are a large organization and you are having more than around say you are responsible payroll for around 20,000 plus employees and you have a team of say 20 people, 20 to 15 to 20 people who are responsible for payroll. And those 15 to 20 people, they have segregated as a payroll admin, payroll process manager, somebody is responsible for the tax related stuff. So you can create a different groups inside the EC payroll. That is basically RBP driven, that is role based permission driven. What are the access you will be giving to whom? So in that one click monitoring, all the people can come together and they can participate. Okay, suppose there is some data issue, so payroll admin will be giving an alert to the data person who is responsible for data related thing. Okay, so automatically then he will be saving, means he will be correcting, responsible for correcting those data. So all the experts will be coming together as a team. Okay, that is in your one-click monitoring. All the people will be coming together so that your data quality is ensured. Okay, because as I was mentioning, 90% of the time the data quality leads to the, if the data quality is little bit deviation is there, then that will lead to definitely your some kind of error will come in the payroll. So data discrepancy, data quality, actually it is most critical when it comes to the payroll, like any other module, but payroll is actually being a more sensitive. So at the end of the day, it is employee salary. So data quality is very crucial for employee central payroll. So in EC payroll, all the people who can come together who are part of the payroll team, one team, they can work together and they can be part of this one-click monitoring. So this is a concept of what is a one-click monitoring, what is why we need a one-click, why we call it one-click monitoring, and what are the different steps. Okay, so this is just an overview. We'll go into details whenever we'll be covering the PCC into details. So this is just an overview. So the next piece, so the innovation piece, like what are the innovation piece we are having in the EC payroll? We have something called decouple the process of verifying the data quality for payroll. Okay, so what we have done in the EC payroll, like suppose somebody is prepared the data and somebody is meant for data verifying the data. Okay, so those are the different. Now we can decouple the process. Means we are dividing the process. So a person who is responsible for maintaining the data, that can be different person, and person who will be verifying the data is different person. Okay, so this kind of innovation is there, and also I'll be explaining what is a D cluster. Why is there, that is I'll be coming shortly to that topic. Okay, other than that, we have, as I was mentioning, we'll be having some real-time insights. We'll be having, you don't have to download the reports, you can interact with the payroll system. So these are really innovation in your EC payroll side, okay, as I was mentioning. So this is once your one-click monitoring is done, okay, so then you can go for the production payroll. Okay. When I say production payroll, so we have different steps here, like start payroll production, run payroll, okay, then simulate. Once your payroll is done already, then you have to go for your simulate the payroll posting. Okay, so that means you have to transfer that to the finance, how you will be doing the finance posting and all. Similarly, the run payroll data validation. So again, if you would like to say some kind of data validation, you can do that. So then verify the payroll data quality. When I say payroll data quality, it is little different here. So if you have to check the policies. Okay, so in the on-premise days, we do not have any policy validation. Okay, when it comes to policy and process validation, it was though if the client wanted to do something, then we have to write some ABAP code, some kind of validation. We are doing that. But here it is much easier. So like if you would like to configure some policy, if you would like to configure some processes, you can also, as an admin or as a consultant, you can smoothly write some policy related stuff, and you can assign those particular policy to a particular process. Suppose I will give you one example here. Suppose during a payroll run, like you found out that there is some upper cap. Suppose the senior manager, there is a different limit for your per diem, and for the manager, you are having another upper limit of per diem, say 2,000. For senior manager, it is say 3,000. Okay, so due to some reason, the manager actually exceeded the per diem amount, so say 2,200 instead of 2,000. Then system will give an alert there, like it is a policy violation, even if there is no defect in the running the payroll, but there is a policy violation here. So means that is a policy, say 2,000 rupees per day, but the manager has claimed say 2,200 rupees, whatever reason. Okay, so that in that case you can validate those policies. So those kind of when it comes to the payroll data quality check, in this step you can, before running the final production payroll, you can close, you can check with the manager what is the, why he has claimed 200, or you can reject that like remaining extra 2,200 rupees. Okay, so those kind of validation before running the payroll posting or running the payroll final payroll, you can have a check for that. Okay. So those kind of how to configure this policy and how to configure this process, I'll be discussing in the payroll control center. That is your part C. into details. Okay, for the time being, you understand this kind of check we can configure in the payroll control center. That is in the next verified payroll data quality check. We can do that. Okay, so once your everything is verified, all the policy, there's no policy deviations also. So then after that we can finally run and end the payroll production. Okay, so that is a last point of your payroll production payroll. So we have two things. One is a one-click monitoring. That is we can see an equivalent to our simulation payroll, and another thing is a production payroll, but it is more advanced compared to our on-premise payroll. Okay. So you can see here, I'm giving you just one example. What are the different processes, active processes, upcoming processes, completed processes. So this will be going into details when we'll be discussing the payroll control center. So this is just an interface I have shown you. So as I was mentioning, we can also simplify configuration. It will be more relevant. You can configure the different policies. Okay, you don't have to involve IT here. As I was mentioning, when I say IT, suppose your client is maintaining internal IT team and they are responsible for they have the adapt team. So you don't have to involve those people to configure a policy, configure, because you know the HR policy, payroll related policies and processes. There are simplified configurations available which you can configure on the go. So that once you configure those policies, and then we can assign which specific payroll cluster or payroll we are going to assign those policies to a particular processes. So you can see this is in the screen, like managing processes, managing policies. You can have this kind of all the policies will be come and sit together here. Manage policies and manage processes. Depending on your authorization, you will be getting access as a payroll admin or as a payroll process manager. You will be having access to this. Similarly, if I go, as I was mentioning, also there is a provision for off-cycle payment. So Sai and Krishna, as you are not aware of, so when I say off-cycle payment, which is not a regular payroll. Okay, suppose there are some cases like generally the reimbursement. Okay, generally reimbursement. Some of the organization they do on a 15 days basis. Some of the organization do on a weekly basis. So depending upon the scenarios, which is not part of your regular payroll cycle, so that you can also run it's a part of your off cycle payment. Okay, so we can all kind of reimbursement, all kind of claims, so those can be run using this similar to on premise. Here also we can have off cycle payment. It can be done directly to the payroll control center itself. Okay, so that is an what is an off cycle payment I have covered here. So this is just an overview I've given when it comes to the EC payroll admin point of view. Now we'll be little move towards our RBP piece. Okay, so that is managing user access, as I was mentioning. So we have the goal to understand what are the different permission group, what are the different permission roles available from an EC payroll point of view. That we'll be discussing in details. So here you can see in the role-based permission, generally we have two roles, but here I have included another one role. Why? That is an HR admin role is a generic role. Generally, all the super HR super admin will be having that particular role, who will be responsible for everything in the EC as well as EC payroll manager, every single sign-on or any tax related stuff. Okay, so there is in the every organization, mostly one person will be responsible for all kind of system admin. Is a kind of super admin that we call HR administrator role. I have given it here. Similarly, you'll be having when it comes to the EC payroll, there will be two specific role. That is your payroll manager, who will what is the responsibility of that person. So he is the only person who will be responsible for running or on a monthly basis or on a weekly basis, depending upon your frequency of the payroll. Okay, that person will be responsible for running the payroll on an ongoing basis. Okay, so he will be also monitoring the payroll health check or distributing the work. Okay, those kind of depending upon your organization size, you know how many payroll manager will be having, you have to decide that. Okay, again another role is called payroll administrator. Okay, so what is the role of the payroll administrator? So he is a kind of a SME. When I say SME, he is a subject matter expert in the entire EC payroll area, similar to your consultant. Okay, so other than the provisioning, because provisioning access will not be given generally to the admin piece, only the access from an instance point of view, entire RBP entire from a success factor instance point of view, he'll be having all the access related to the payroll. So generally, payroll administrator is the SME. He is a subject matter expert. Any kind of issues comes due to some reason. Okay, so he will be able to respond. He is responsible for understanding means what is the issue and what is the alert. Okay, so he will be guiding the payroll manager. If the payroll manager is facing some issue or challenges while running the payroll, is there any issue? Then he will be the primary person. The you can say is a kind of a L1 support to a payroll manager. Payroll administrator will be supporting all kind of if there is any policy violations or any kind of error he is getting, and he'll be payroll administrator will be working with the consultant in the initial days. Suppose you are implementing the EC payroll, and after your EC payroll is implemented, then the initial days of support, like as I was mentioning, so say hypercare, or it can be some ongoing payroll support, payroll administrator working closely with the payroll consultant. And if it is outsourced, then everything will be taken care by the implementation partner. Otherwise, the payroll administrator will be the go-to person for any kind of issues coming from a payroll manager. If he's getting, then he will be reach out to the payroll administrator. So this is actually generally the two basic roles generally we have in the EC payroll. Okay, and also same role, how to configure that I'll be showing in just next 10-15 minutes the system. Just before that, I'll be covering what are the theoretical aspect of it. So as a payroll process manager, here I've given some exercises. So these exercises I'll be showing you in the system, configuring the SAP system, payroll results. So all this you'll be seeing the different screens like active processes, what are the upcoming processes, what are the processes you have completed. Okay, so these things you will be seeing in your sales demo or whatever the instance you are having. If you are getting any error, how to resolve that error, how the error will look like. That we will be seeing. Now we'll be moving to the exercises file. We'll be now go to system, and I will showcase you whatever we have not seen in the last session. Okay. So last session I've just shown you the little bit of basic thing. Now will be any questions so far? Sai, Krishna, Ram, any questions?
No, Niladri, you are clear. I'm pretty much
Yeah.
clear.
Yeah. So I'll just having going to the login to the my instance. So we will be going one by one hands-on exercises. So the first exercises is all about the understanding permission roles. So Krishna and Sai, are you aware of what is an RBP?
Yeah, a little
Sai?
bit. Not pretty much, but a little bit. What you taught me, like I can revise again, like like
Okay, no problem.
I don't
So,
remember.
so basically, RBP is a kind of a authorization. Generally, who is the person who is getting what kind of roles, what kind of access, that we generally manage here. Okay. So to be just to be a in a layman language, just I explained that. Okay. So for that, we are having in the success factor in the admin center. If you go to once you log into the admin your success factor instance. Okay. So inside that, in the tool, you can search something called manage permission roles. Okay. As I has already given here. Otherwise, you can type here tool search. There is something called manage permission group, and there is something called manage permission roles. Okay. So I'll be explaining like in the manage permission roles, what are the roles we have already there. We can see. Otherwise, you can also create a new role depending upon your requirement. Okay, so here you can see there are different roles like recruiter, onboarding. So for different modules, so we have different kind of roles we have created. Like suppose I'm going to recruiter, so only he can see what the permission we are giving there, only the recruiting related permissions. Okay, similarly as I was
Okay.
mentioning, payroll, say ESS, employee self service. Okay. So here we generally give all the employee related information only he will be seeing, like he will be able to see his personal people profile, he will be able to see his time and attendance data. So but as an employee, I can't see these things, like all the remaining things stuff I will not be getting, like workforce planning, org chat, okay, onboarding, offboarding, recruiting, all these things I'll not be having access. Okay, as an employee, I'll be having access to my homepage. I'll be access to my whatever the career related page, because career is still more related to my internal job posting. That also I can access depending upon your requirement. You can see. Okay, so my employee file I should be having able to access. Okay, so as that is an ESS. Okay, so here when it comes to the payroll control center, when it comes to the payroll PCC payroll admin, I have already created a permission role. Otherwise, you can always, if it is not created in your system, that is, you can create a new. You can directly go to the system, create new, and also you can create a new payroll control center specific role depending upon your requirement. So, what kind of roles, what kind of authorization you would like to give? Okay, that kind of roles you can create. So here you can see you can create a role name, say PCC, as I already created. I'll be giving a different name, payroll admin. Say I am creating it for India. Okay, once it is done, in the second step, you can give the permission setting. So what are the permission setting you would like to give? That you can give it here. So what I will do, I will be covering step by step. So what are the hands-on exercises I have mentioned in the slides? I'll be giving the same thing. Okay. So here the first one is the manage SAP system configuration. So when I say manage SAP system configurations, what is the meaning of that? Means you'll be having access to the backend system. That is your on-premise system. That access is required. If you are running for payroll. Okay. So let me check if it is there or not. Huh. So here, that is the configuration, that is the permissions we are giving, that is your manage SAP system configuration. Once you give this access, okay, so then you will be able to access the backend system also. Okay, so that is done now. So this is your first, once I have done, so next one is grant this role to. Okay, so in this what we will do, so before creating this payroll, this permission, we must have created some group of employees. This is called permission group. If it is not created, then you have to create a particular group of employee who will be responsible for your payroll. Okay, so here what I'm going to do, I'll be creating whatever the existing group is already there. I'll be assigning a particular this role to a particular group of employees. Okay, so say I was mentioning, say suppose I am running for France. Okay, so no, I just let me check if it is India is there already. Let me check. Otherwise, you can create a group for Indian payroll thing. You can give access to that. Okay. So what I for the demo point of view, just I'm giving here one example. Like suppose I'm creating it for say Singapore. It's done. It's done. Let me change it to Singapore. But there will be no validation anyway. So like here, is it a test system? So this is a simple process how to create a permission. So Ram, you must be knowing this. So this is a repetition for you. Like so
No
once it is
worries, no worries.
so once it is done, so this is the process how you can create a permission role. Okay, so this is just a one permission I have given. So there are multiple permissions are available. So we'll be going one by one. Okay, so this is a once you're giving this access to SAP system configurations. Okay, so only he will be having access to the backend system, but he will not be having the access to the your front end, like whatever the permission you are giving. Okay, so only he will be having access to the backend, that is your on-premise payroll system. He'll be having into access. Okay, so now you can see in the which you have already configured, like access to SAP system configuration. That particular role only he will
Okay.
be permission he'll be getting. So this is one of the exercises you can also do once you are having the system. So this is your first
Sir,
exercise. Yeah. Similarly, the
I have
next one
one.
is yeah, please.
Sir, what you have done this configuration to create a permission role, right?
Yes.
when you're done with the save changes, like we again we have to revise those one, like uh, create the like in by using this configuration, so where we have to see that one particularly. So you create this page, right, permission, and
Mhm.
again we where you have done the changes,
Mhm.
save changes. Yeah.
Yes. So I didn't
So
get your
where,
question. Can
So
you please repeat?
Neeladri,
yeah.
I can explain him what this question is.
Uh,
You created the role, right? So you want to
uh,
see it, and I think I don't know whether it's I or Krishna. I think we can see in the same screen. Neeladri, if you go back to our screen, we can see the roles, right?
yes, yes.
Yeah. So his question was if whatever I have created, I
Yeah,
want to
I
see
got
that.
it. So, yeah, so you can see it in the manage permission rows. If I go back again, okay. So also here
Mhm.
permission, you can change it. Suppose if you want to revert it, like suppose whatever
Oh,
changes you
yeah.
have done, you can you can see it in the top. Whatever that I'm doing, it is coming in the top. Okay. So you can see the existing payroll admin Singapore. I have created it now. Okay. So it is showing a
Oh
status is
yeah, I done it.
you got it right.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I
Okay.
got it. Thank you.
Yeah. So anyway, it will be available in your permission role list. Actually, it is a list of all the permissions, whatever we've already created. Okay, it will be
Okay.
available there. Okay. So once I suppose I want to add something new to the same payroll admin Singapore, I want to give some more permission. Okay. So that is our next exercises that I'll be running through. So next exercises is all about the giving the payroll integration permission. Okay. So what I will do, I will be giving the integration permission as well to the same particular role. Okay, it is when just remember it is a role, not an employee. They're not giving employee wise. Okay, so people who are in the particular permission group automatically they will be getting. Suppose there are 10 people, all the 10 people will be getting those access. So I'll be going to the next permission, that is your manage payroll integration.
Yeah, that's manage SAP system configuration.
No, just a minute. This is actually payroll integration permission. A payroll integration permission is there. So here you can see what I will do in the whatever next three exercises are there. I will be completing all three in one go. Okay. So first one is the payroll integration permission. Okay. When I say payroll integration permission, there are a lot of permissions are here. Okay. So depending upon your organizational structure or depending upon how many people are there in your payroll team, you can segregate. You can give to one person to everything. Otherwise, there is certain person who is responsible for only for the data replication or MS only for employee payroll run. Okay, there can be some persons who will be responsible for only for control center configuration. Generally, it is given to the super admin only and the consultant. Okay, it is not given to the your payroll process manager or other person will not be giving. Okay, so whatever the permissions are required, similarly your data maintenance or task configurations, depending upon your size of the team. Okay, so you can create different permission roles here. Otherwise, if there is only one person or two-person, okay, so in that case you can give all the access, whatever the access you would like to give. Okay, say payroll system assignment. Okay, so then particular person will be able to assign a particular system. Okay. Similarly, the data maintenance, it is very intuitive, like to understand. So it is a self-explanatory kind of thing. When I say payroll data maintenance task, you'll be able to run the payroll, you'll be able to simulate the payroll, you'll be able to that one-click monitoring, what I was mentioning, that you can do. Okay. So even also you can import and export data. Okay, so there's some policy also you'd like to import and export. Those kind of things you can do. When I say task configurations, it is little technical. Okay, when I say task configuration means you will be able to also change the configuration also. Okay, so depending upon your requirement, you can give this particular permissions here. So payroll data maintenance, control center config. Generally configurations I do not give through this thing to all the people, one or two people who will be responsible for maintaining the system. Only to them will be giving this payroll control center. It can be the consultant, it can be the payroll super admin, okay, or the admin who is responsible for day-to-day maintenance of these things. Okay, so these are different permissions so we can give. We have under payroll integration permission. Okay, so once we are done with the payroll integration permission, so same thing I have explained it here. So what I have done in the next subsequent slide, for each and every field, I have explained. Anyway, I'll be sharing the slides with you, so I'm not explaining much details, like what we can do in each and every step. Okay. Suppose a data maintenance, it will allow the user to roll the means to configure all the related to the data point. Okay, configure the payroll data maintenance task he can do. Similarly, when I say payroll system assignment, so it will allow the user to assign a particular payroll system to a target user. Suppose you are a multiple MNC, there are multiple countries you are handling, then which system to assign to which admin, or which system to assign to which process payroll process manager. Okay, that you should be able to do. Suppose if you are having this permission, payroll system assignment. Okay, so these are mostly, this is again a super admin role, permission role. Similarly, the payroll center control center config is also a super admin role. But this data maintenance task you can give to a process manager, or people who are responsible for your day-to-day maintenance of the data related to payroll, that you can give. So this was regarding your payroll integration permission. This is another permission. This is part of your exercise 2. Next, I'll be coming to the another set of permission, that is your payroll control center. So this one is the payroll control center. So here, as an employee, what are the things you can see? Okay, as an employee or as an process manager, as payroll process manager, you can give an access to the managed processes access, managed policies access. Okay, so suppose there is one person who is responsible for only reimbursement. Okay, so in that case, only this my off cycle access. Okay, so this access you can give. Okay, but as an admin, you can keep this permission with you, like my processes, my accesses, my teams. Again, there is no hard and fast rule here. For this, you need to consult with your client for how they want it. You have to explain each and everything here, like what are the, if you are giving this access, what things they can do. Okay, so that you have to explain. And suppose if there is one or two person only, then you can select all and give the access to the particular employee, particular role basically. So this is regarding the payroll control center permissioning. So this is the second, another important RBP permissioning here. The third one is payroll permission. When I say payroll permission, so here one thing, that is a payroll self-service. So this one you can give to all employees. Okay. When I say self-service, so there are different. Suppose you are accessing in your payroll, pay slip basically, the remuneration statement, or say Form 16. Okay, so all those are actually we are calling as a self-service. Those are part of a payroll self-service. So generally, this can be given to the employees, like payroll self-service. Okay, so that they can download their pay slip, Form 16, whatever the things are required, garnishment statement, whatever, depending upon their countries. So they will be able to download from their people profile itself. Okay. So other than that, suppose you are giving this payroll system information dashboard or payroll administration, so then whatever the screens you are I have shown you in the slides, okay, that admin activities, that system dashboards, okay, those people will be getting directly those access. So this is just an payroll permissions. You can define it here. So these are three, four things just I wanted to highlight when it comes to the RBP. So generally, people the decision happens in the initial days of configuration, but once your payroll has been implemented, we give this access. So we set up this access during your before finalizing releasing it to the for the client. So same thing I have explained here, like in the exercises 3, exercises, subsequent exercises into details. Okay, that you can go through. I'll not be explaining under details. Okay, so who will be target group and all. So the next exercises is all about your SAP system configuration. Okay, I'll be explaining this also, like what are the things you can do in the SAP system configuration. I'll be going to the admin center. So once you start typing SAP system in the tool search bar, you will be directly getting this SAP system configuration. Okay. So once I go to the SAP system configurations, what are the permissioning I can, what are the things I can do, I can see. So I think in this system somebody has done. So in SAP system configuration, it is not in my system, but there is another system I can show you in the next session. Otherwise, let me check in the another system. Actually, this is a test system. Many people are doing many things, so sometimes I get error also. So let me go to my SAP admin center, sorry, SAP admin center. If I go to SAP system configuration, so here you can see there is something called SAP system configurations. Okay, once I've chosen that SAP system configuration, so here I can see if there is, this is actually the on-premise system, which is now, which is available to access from the sales demo. Okay, so this is basically an on-premise system. Suppose if your client is having some on-premise system, that also we can configure it here. So there is something called create new. Okay, so here also you can get in that option called SAP system configurations. You can give the system name here, system URL, and then click your client name. Okay, so whatever the client name, system URL, these things you'll be getting from your client ID team. Okay, so they will be providing it with you, so that you just once you mention this in your SAP system configurations, in that way you can connect with your backend system. Okay, so whatever the backend system we have or SAP payroll, so that you can connect it here. Okay, so this is one of another configurations, just as a part of exercise. I just wanted to highlight here. So you can connect with the backend system and the URL and the client name. Okay? So this is another configuration when it comes to the
Uh,
permissions. Okay.
Niladri, who will give you these details, system name, that URL? And
System URL you will be getting from your client. The SAP will be providing that system URL, but these configurations you don't give to the process manager. Generally, you keep it with you as a consultant, and once otherwise you can give it to the SAP or payroll admin, means client EC payroll admin, super admin. Not to the admin also. So there is a super admin. Only to that particular role you can give this access.
so every on-premise system will come with this URL, is it?
Yes, yes. All your, as most of the things are NetWeaver based, as you know. So all this, your on-premise, whatever we are using, so that will be coming with a URL. Okay, so that is a called some. This is dummy URL I have given in the screenshot. But on a real system, you'll be getting a similar. The end will be like same payroll.ondemand.com. Only the first part will be different. Like here I have written 90101. So some kind of number will come here or some kind of data will be coming here, whatever SAP is assigned. But the client ID will be like your, suppose it's a production 800 or 600, whatever, depending your client, that is you will be getting here. And system name also SAP will be giving to you. So, but this
Okay.
permission with your payroll admin, super admin, you don't give this permission to the end user, like who will be running the payroll. They don't give. Okay, so generally this specific this thing information will be given to the super admin.
Okay. Thank
Depending
you.
on the requirement, you can change. So there's no hard and fast rule. Okay, so this was your exercise number 5 for like how to set up the SAP system configuration. In the system also I have shown you like what are the configuration you can do. So once you receive the system name, system URL, and client ID, you have to just put it here and you have to save that. Okay, so there is the same option. Once you've done that, you will be getting that. So in my dummy system, actually, I do not have directly connectivity. Only thing is, it is just a dummy I have created, like this URL, and this is my client ID, and this is my system name. Okay, so this way you can also create a similar way. So this is regarding your SAP system configuration. That is your exercise number 4. So once it is done, so here there is another in this exercises we can see there is something called payroll control center configuration. Okay, so that also I'll be showing you in the system. When I say payroll system control system configuration, I will be going to the admin center. Once I start typing payroll, it will come. So you can see payroll system control center configurations. That is the last one. So under this payroll process configuration, you can see payroll control center configuration. So this is again critical whenever you are configuring payroll control center, and there is a specific system for that. 1802 here I'm having the master data. So this is here you can see the previous system, the on-premise system which we have already configured, that you can view it because it is assigned to this particular control center. Okay. So same access you can see it here, like the same URL, the UID, your client ID 410 x0b410. So here in this configuration, we are declaring that this system will be set up to this for this payroll process configuration. Under this payroll control center configuration, we are just aligning. Okay, so this is my 1802 master. We see this 1802 master. I am aligning this SAP system configuration, like whatever the SAP system I'm having. Okay, that will now talk to this payroll control center. Okay, suppose if you would like to change something here, I can go to the take action and I can do some corrections here. Okay, so there can be scenario. Suppose we have multiple system. Okay, so there are 2 to 3 different system, but they are coming through a particular payroll center, same under payroll same control center. Okay, that option also we can give, because in my system we have only one system here. Okay, so I can see only in the drop down only one value. Okay, but for your client it may happen there can be, suppose there are 3 to 4 different countries, you can have different 4 or 3 or 4 different systems. Okay, that also we can align here. So those are the things you can see it here. Similarly, the payroll processes, you can see in the drop down there are 2 values. One is a payroll control center, second one is payroll control center classic. So when classic generally we do not use at present. So whenever SAP started this EC payroll, we are using, but some of the clients still they are using. Okay, so payroll control center is a much more advanced features compared to the classic that I already, I'll showcase you in the slides which what are the difference is there between these two. But it is recommended to use this payroll control center only, okay, not the classic one. Okay, even if it is there, SAP has not removed that. Okay, so we'll be always using this payroll control center only, not the classic one. Similarly, the payroll process error also, you'll be getting 2 kinds of thing, payroll control center and the classic. By default, payroll control center will be there. So you always choose that. You don't change it to classic one. Okay, that is a recommended one in this configuration. So this is regarding your payroll control center configurations. So in the slide I have already explained, if you are using the classic version, so then the payroll process manager will see the payroll process for that particular system. Okay, but if you are using the recent one, okay, the payroll control center, so he will see the new landing page. Okay, so the new landing page is only available only in the payroll control center. If you are choosing the classic one, you will be getting to an old admin, old landing page. So that is the only difference here, the look and feel and everything, the features and all. It is always recommended to use the recent one, that is the payroll control center. This is regarding your exercise number 4. So I am actually doing all these exercises for means showcasing the exercise for you. This is just nothing difficult here. Okay, these are all one-time activity whenever you are implementing a system. Okay, so these are all one-time activities you can do. So in the next exercises, what I will do, I will showcase how to assign where the system is assigned actually. The payroll system assignment I am going to show you. Okay, I'll go to the admin center here. So there is a tool called Payroll System Assignment. I will go to that particular tool. So in the Payroll System Assignment, I will go to the Payroll System Assignment once again. So here what I can do, here basically we can assign a particular, suppose a particular configuration in the entire payroll system, we can assign a particular person also. Okay, suppose there is a person called Nandini Venkatesh. So he will be the actually owner of this entire payroll system assignment. Okay. So then automatically, as I have already assigned, okay, so I have assigned this particular system, say 410. Okay. So he, by default, he is getting this. Okay. Also, you can change this same thing here in the making the corrections here. Suppose he is responsible for 2 or 3 different countries. You can assign the respective system also. Okay. At present, I'm having only one system, so only one value is coming here. So as a person also, you can also assign a particular payroll system to a particular person. So those kind of information you'll be getting here. So you'll be getting an entire list of people to whom you can assign these things. Okay. So this is a list of people specific to the payroll system assignment. Okay. So this is the things you can do here in the payroll system assignment here. Yeah, this is
Niladri,
regarding. Yeah, please.
so now, so first step you told we configured payroll SAP configuration. Second step we are saying that this payroll control center should read this configuration. Okay, so now you the third step which you explained. So you are saying that we can assign to a user. Is this an is a payroll manager or a payroll admin kind of a person we are assigning, or what it is? This the just step.
Third is actually payroll system assignment. It varies actually. So generally, this thing we give to the super admin, payroll super admin, who will be the person who will be handling the entire end-to-end running the payroll, troubleshooting everything.
Yeah.
Generally,
Got it. Now I got it.
the same
Thank you.
same person will be getting. Suppose generally it happens with 1 or 2 people. Then suppose there is a particular, we will recommend what we recommend. Generally, we keep 2 super admin from a best practice point of view. Suppose there
It's
is
always true.
one person is
Yeah.
for all modules. We suppose one person is absent, so that another person can replace in his absence or in her absence. Okay. Generally, this we can give to 2 persons in a particular organization, not more than 2. That is not recommended.
Yeah.
Maximum 2 that generally we recommend. Okay. In that case, you
Okay.
can also give assign this to 2 people in your organization or the client. Okay.
Okay.
This is
So
what
that
regarding.
means,
Yeah.
so sorry, that means Niladri, so in payroll control center, only this right now as of Niladri and someone else, whoever we assign, that 2 persons only can run payroll control center, right?
Payroll control center. They will be having access to the entire system, payroll system control center. Yes, you
Okay,
are
got it.
correct. Yeah, yeah. So next one, actually, I think I have already shown the last time. The info types we have already seen, right? Last time, or I can repeat this one. Or I mean, I
Please
will
repeat.
repeat this one.
We did
Sure,
not
sure.
see this.
Okay, so I will repeat this one. This is called payroll unified configuration. Okay, so what is the unified configuration? I'll be explaining once again. So this is in simplistic where you can visualize how those info types can be connected. Okay, so I'll be showing you payroll unified configuration. So this is again a country specific. So we will be depending upon how many countries you are running. Only that many countries you have to activate. You don't need to activate all the countries. Okay. So once we go to the payroll unified configurations, you are here. I can't. So here there's an option called add country. Okay. So this is my sales demo. Multiple people are using from different countries. So I can see most of my whatever available. There are in EC payroll. As of now around 45 countries are supported. Okay. So all the countries will be available here in this. Here you can see India, Ireland, France. Okay. So I'll be focusing on the India because so that you can understand the different India specific info types of what are there and what are the different portlets are available. Okay. So when I've chosen India, you can see there are 3 things. One is system configuration, second one is the portlet, third one is the payroll tasks. Okay. System configuration is very simple, like what are the things we have already configured in the previous steps. Okay. So that you can call it here. Okay. Suppose in the SAP system configuration, I have configured this X0B410 system, which is already there. I've already configured it. So for that reason, this automatically it is coming. Okay. So in this drop down, once I have chosen this X410, automatically this payroll system URL and client ID will be appearing here, and that is not editable from a control point of view. Okay, so once I've whatever system I'm choosing here, whatever the configuration we have done in the previous exercises I have shown you. Okay, so those specific URL and those specific client ID will be pop up here. Okay, so this you can't change. Okay, from a control point of view. So just to, this is again one-time configurations, like whatever the system you are calling to the on-premise system, that you have to choose here. Okay, once it is done, the status and this enable this thing, it will be always active, and yes, you have to don't have to, unless and until it's not required. Okay, it is always active. Don't have to change anything. So this is just a basic system configuration in the unified configuration. And the second one is most interesting, that is regarding the portlet. When I say portlet, so in this portlet, as you know, there are different portlets in your people profile. Like it can be compensation, it can be earning and deductions, it can be statements, it can be tax related. So all the related fields will be appearing here. And also, the interesting part is you can also add your own custom portlet. Okay, suppose you have created some custom portlet, that also we can add here. Also, you can add some additional link. Whatever you can see, there are different kinds of links. Suppose there is some custom statement. Suppose you have created standard is automatically coming here. Like for India, Form 6 is standard one. Okay, so for that reason, it is automatically coming here. Suppose you have created some tax calculations. Suppose you created some custom statement in your as an MDF object or something like that. That also you can call it here in the. You can give the additional link here. Okay. So now before that, I'll be explaining little bit on your info types. Okay. So Sai and Krishna, in the on-premise we had different types of info types for payroll specific. When it comes to payroll, Indian payroll, you can see there is something called HRA. When I have chosen this HRA, it is taking me to another screen. So in the first name, you can see the link name, that is housing, HRA, CLA, COA related things. In the second link, you can see the link type. So this is basically a link for info type. Okay. When I say info type, so we generally store all the information of a similar category, similar types in a particular entity, that is called info types in SAP HCM. Okay, so here for Indian payroll, the responsibility of 581 info type to capture all the housing related information, HRA, CLA, COA, whatever. Okay, so that you can see that automatically it's coming up here. Similarly, in the permission category, we have two types of permissions. One is admin service, second one is self service. So admin service is basically because 581 info type generally admin maintains in the backend. Okay. Also, if you are giving access to this employee, that also we can give it. Like if you are putting self service here, then employee can maintain his housing rent or whatever the same info types. He'll be having access. He'll be able to update that on a regular basis. Okay. So this is a permission category. We give it a info type label. Okay. So similarly, when I was explaining the link type, I'll explain what is a service and what is the URL in the next screen. Okay. So this is just a simple info type. Similarly, for other info type, because Indian info types, Indian payroll related info types is the 580 series, 580 starting from 580 to 590, okay, 91. Okay, so the same thing you can see it here. When I say reimbursement, it will take me the 590 info types. So same thing also you can see it in your on-premise. So similarly, other statutory deduction 588. Okay. So exemptions are coming under 582. Okay. So section 80, that is a 585. In this way also you can get you can remember all the info types related to the Indian payroll, parent conveyance, that is a 583. Okay. So this is all related to the info types related portlets which we were calling in the payroll unified configuration. Okay. So the way you want, you can also interchange it. So suppose you want some HRA to come up, so you can also use this top down arrow the way you like to see it in your employee profile. Okay, so you can change all this setup. So similarly, I'll be explaining the next one, that is a statement. Say form 16. Okay, so generally form 16 it is actually given to the employee. Okay, so for that reason you can see in the permission category it is mentioned in the self service. Okay, and also form 16 is not an info type. Okay, because it is actually a form which you can download from your people profile whenever you require it. Okay, for that reason the link type is service. Okay, so that you have to understand what is an info type and what is a service when it comes to the payroll unified configuration. Okay, so this is another example.
Yeah.
So similarly, if you would like to add something extra, that option also we are given here. Okay, so that you can give either link name here. You can, whether it's a service or it's an info type or it's some access to some external URL. Okay, that also we can give it here. Suppose I'm choosing an URL, then that will take me to the, just like if you can give an information like suppose anything related to the PF, and you can directly give the URL link for where you can upload your PF related stuff. Otherwise, if it's something related to income tax filing, okay, or tax declarations, so those kind of information, there's an URL, external URL also you can put it here, so that when the employee will be going to their people profile, they will click that particular URL and it will redirect to that particular site. That options, that
Okay.
flexibility also given it here. Okay. So,
Niladri, one
yeah,
question. Sorry to interrupt.
yeah,
So,
yeah, please.
could you please click on that add link or more sometime? Yeah.
Yeah.
Here, so the link name, we can choose any label, or is it will it come from on-premise HCM or whatever?
So here in the link name, you can suppose if you're choosing any info type, okay, then that must be some particular info type name. Suppose there is a custom info type you have created in the on-premise, that name should be here. It should be matching
Oh,
to that particular level.
so
Suppose
it should be in line with the
inline.
on-premise link name.
Yes, yes, on-premise
Okay.
name. Yeah. Suppose if it
Okay.
is a URL, you can give any name. Suppose URL because it's not nothing to do with your on-premise system. Okay. Suppose
Hmm.
I'm putting suppose a income tax declaration website. Okay, or the filing tax filing website. Okay. So those kind of link name I can give, but that URL is whatever the exact URL I have to put it here. Okay. And that should be under a self-service. Okay. So those kind of flexibility we have, but generally I've not seen people are using many extra thing here. So whatever standard, mostly it comes out of box. Okay, only in case if you are having some custom info types, that flexibility we are given here.
Okay.
Similarly, the loans, that is your info type 45. Okay, that also we can see it here in this. Okay, and some additional info types here you can see, which is not directly related to your payroll, like education, your membership fees. Okay, so those kind of things also you can edit here. Those
So,
relevant
so the
info
info
types.
types, so the
Hmm.
info types and whatever we are maintaining here, that will come
Hmm.
from on-premise system, right? Is it?
All the standard will be coming here. Suppose if it is an Indian, so all the standard will be coming on the under 580 series or related like 45 info type. All those things will be coming here. Suppose if you would like to add anything,
So the service and URL we have to define in the system, or will they also come from URL? I understand the service you mentioned Form 16, right?
uh,
So yeah, the service means, I mean, the Form 16 is part of on-premise system. Will it can we generate Form 16 in on-premise?
yes, Form 16, there is a transaction code.
Okay.
I think PC00M40 underscore F16. Am I correct, Ram? So, so you can also download Form 16 in the on-premise also. Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
So
that's
if
right.
you mention the service, then it will come from on-premise system, right? Okay.
Yes. Whatever that you have configured. So in the service
Hmm.
section, you can see it is a very unified here. So here you
Mm-hmm.
can see it is not very country specific. Okay. So you can
Okay.
see something called BSI tax, which is related to your US payroll. Okay. And there is something of superannuation, which is if you have configured, then it will come. Okay. So similarly, your Form 16 pay statement, whatever, all the services, these are different services. Generally, standards will be coming here. Okay, suppose you have configured some custom service, okay, in the on-premise, then also if you would like to call it in here, then also you can add it here. That flexibility
Okay.
we have. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Niladri.
Okay.
Thank you.
So yeah, welcome. So all these things is the beauty of this payroll unified configuration. So depending upon your country, also you'll be getting a different variant. So that you can explore. Suppose I'm going to Germany. Okay, so all the Germany related info types I can see it here. Okay. So in a single screen. So it was not very easy when it comes to the on-premise payroll. So like for to go, every time you have to run a transaction code for specific. Here we don't have to run any transaction code. With a single click, you can visualize all the respective countries. Okay, so suppose I'm going to France. So all the France related info types I can see. Okay, all this thing information I can see it here. This is regarding your portlets. Okay, so once it is done, so next one is your payroll tasks. Okay, so payroll task is basically your generally we configure. Suppose there is a scenario, it is connected to your EC. Okay, so payroll task is related to your EC. It is integrated. So for that reason, you can see there are multiple events here. So when I will giving one example here. So I was choosing an assignment. There is something called global assignment or deputation. So what are the things which generally changes? Generally, what happens whenever we are deployed in a global assignment, the basic and some HR related basic generally you get the remaining part of your payroll. You are not paid generally. Okay, so in that case, you can do some certain activities, certain tasks. Okay, what are the specific info types you will be working in that particular global assignment? Okay, that you can choose it here. Okay, so those kind of tasks also you can configure specific to a global assignment. Okay, so this is all you can do it from a payroll unified configuration, which again these are again one-time configurations, and if anything modification is required, always you can come back and you can change anything you would like to add something. Okay, that you can do it, but it is not recommended to change it very frequently because it may impact your system stability and all. Okay, so the system configuration remains the same throughout your payroll. And portlets, if you like to add some additional thing, you can add it here, but it is not recommended to delete anything. It is not means it is not strictly means you don't have to delete anything because it will impact whatever the display level you can change, like that is flexible, like top down you can also this down arrow top arrow you can change it, but it is not recommended to delete anything from here once you have configured it. Okay,
The,
so for that
these
reason
port,
this permission to be given to the
so,
limited employees.
so
Please.
these portlets available in the payroll task or on employee file itself, Niladri?
This portlets actually it will be depending upon your access level. As I was mentioning, okay, suppose I am going to particular info type. If it is a self-service, then it will be available to employee. If it is an admin service, then it will not be available, depending upon the settings we have done here in the
Okay,
permission category.
if we make it as a self-service, it is like I mean, how the time of portlet will be visible. So similarly, it will be visible there.
Exactly. In your payroll stuff, whenever I'm going to my employee file, okay, so
Mm-hmm.
in my as an employee, I can so in my payroll stuff, I can see it in that way. I think it is not there, but whenever you are getting the payroll, whenever you are getting your payroll pay slip, whenever you are going to access, okay. So in
Mm-hmm.
that you can access. Suppose I'm going to payroll. This is my payroll
Okay.
portlet. So in that I should be able to see it here inside that. So I think it is a dummy system. So some other countries has been assigned. So like here in the my depending your payroll related information. Okay, so here actually I can see payroll related information. So here it is not showing because we can't process this because no company, and so because I have not it says dummy employee. Okay, so I have not assigned to myself. Okay, otherwise you'll be seeing here all the information related to the payroll. You'll be getting under this payroll tab. Okay,
Okay.
same
Okay.
the way you can see in your time sheet, similar way you can see it here. Okay, so this
Okay.
was
Understood.
all about your payroll unified configuration. So we will stop here. The so to be summarized to give and summarize everything, I will just giving an overview whatever we have covered today. So first we have started with what are the demerits, not the demerits, rather limitations of the on-premise payroll. We started with. Then we introduced the what is the payroll control center and the basics of payroll control center. What are the activities we can do that we have seen, and we have seen the basics of what is the one-click monitoring and what are the activities we can do when the one-click monitoring. Similarly, once your one-click monitoring is done, how we can go ahead for the what are the real innovation happening in EC payroll, and also we have seen the different steps in the production payroll. And in the production payroll, we have seen how to verify the data quality check and all. How we can be. I've given one example here, like the policy violation. You can create a new policy. You can assign a policy to a process that we have seen in the payroll control center production, and followed by we have seen the different roles. Okay, what are the different roles available in your EC payroll. The primary being the payroll admin. The second one is the payroll manager, that is the payroll process manager. As I mentioned, payroll admin will be the SME, subject matter expert, and he will be responsible for all kind of troubleshooting activities and also assigning those alerts. Okay, so but the payroll manager will be responsible for running all the operational things. Okay, so all the operational things will be done by the payroll manager that we have seen here. Then followed by we have covered like what are the different permissioning. Okay, so in the hands-on, that is the most important part, because theoretical part anyway we can read and understand, but the understanding the exercises, different roles, how we can align the SAP system, how we can give a different integration permission, how we can give what the difference between all this configuration, if you are giving which access, which role, which permission will be getting, that we have seen. Similarly, in your integration permission, what are the integration permission you can give, that we have seen. View, edit, and all the tasks. System assignment, how to do that. Little bit of RBP also, we have gone into details of the RBP. How to do a SAP system configuration, how to payroll control center configuration, how to align that, payroll system assignment. Okay, so finally we have seen the payroll unified configuration. Okay, so all these 5-6 exercises, whenever you'll be having access to your system, you can start with. Now also, whenever you are deploying, suppose you are getting in payroll implementation, so these things you have to configure in the beginning. Okay, so before we close, I'll be showing another thing, that is, provisioning. Provisioning is very easy to understand. Okay, so can you see my provisioning screen?
Yes, Niladri, we can.
Okay, so in the provisioning, basically you have to activate. So there is nothing much. So there is something called enable payroll integration, enable payroll control center. So once you click those activate, so there are a few things related to the, all this related to employee central payroll. Okay, and only those tick mark you have to do. Okay, there is nothing much configuration there. Only tick mark you have to do, and some of the configuration requires some enable generic objects, and that must be present, because if you're implementing AC also, so some of the things must be there are some prerequisite that you have to activate. So there is nothing much difficult here. Okay, only those things we have to activate. Okay, so those things just I wanted to showcase from a provisioning point of view. So in the next session, whenever we'll be having, they will be covering the remaining. We'll start with the next basic things like employee data. I will not be covering much, because this is an EC activity, how to add a new employee. Just I will showcase in the slides. Okay, then we'll be starting with the rest part of it. Means we'll be going into details of the remaining the payroll data, all other different replication monitor, that we'll start with in the next session. Okay, so thank you for your time. So we'll see the next session.
Uh, Thanks, Niladri. And
Thank you.
see, suppose, do we need to set up any VPN connection and all to connect on-premise to this one? I mean,
Yes, yes. VPN connection, that I will be covering, but I'll be covering the next session. Yeah. So there are some
oh,
there is something called getting started. So whatever I have shown you now, this is from an admin point of view. Okay.
okay.
Whenever you are setting up the system, there are some prerequisites for that. So whichever
Mm,
I have shown you, that the provisioning is one part. There is some VPN connection, there are some integration setup, and that generally you need to take help from your IT team, client IT team. That generally we don't do directly. Okay. Those VPN connection, everything will be client will be doing that. But how to do that, I'll be sharing you. So
okay.
I'll showcase you. I'll going taking you through those nodes actually. Okay, because of client will be different clients will be having different VPN. Okay, so for that reason, I have some generalized standardized document that I'll be showcasing, and how to what are the activities you have to do, that I'll be explaining in the next session. Okay.
Okay, all those steps we have seen today are admin perspective. Admin from client side will be doing after the implementation.
Admin from a client side will be doing, but initially they will not be able to do this as a consultant. You have to do this thing as an initially.
Okay, okay, okay.
Okay. Okay. But the admin also can do that, and then subsequent days he can do that. Okay.
Sure, Niladri. So when will be the next session for this batch?
I think
Either
Krishna,
tomorrow.
I am not sure how we are going to take
Okay.
you join with another Krishna is there. Okay. So actually I'm focusing on the certification track, but same thing I'll be covering for you also. But I think it will be weekly 2 hours only, I think. so that you will be, because it was recommended by Krishna also. Like we'll be having 2 hours per week, and we will see it how it goes. Okay.
Fine, fine, Neeraj.
Anyway, we'll connect with Aditya team whenever you need some extra session. You can also connect with him directly.
Sure, Neeraj. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, have a- bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.